Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. So, yesterday, it was Nigeria's birthday, 59 years, and a lot of Nigerians, it's a mixed feelings. A lot of people say they are happy. A lot of people say their expectations are not met because they believe that Nigeria should not be where it is presently. So the president, early in the morning, in almost 20 minutes of address to the nation, spoke about the hopes that he has for the nation, the promises of his government, and what they've been doing in the last 4 years or so. The president gave account of stewardship somewhat. A lot of people have criticized what they think the speech should look like. Tonight, we will dissect some of the key highlights of what the president said yesterday, what we should be expecting from this Buhari second-term government, and the hope for a good Nigeria, a brighter or better Nigeria. Let's get perspective on this one, everyone. So I have Mr. Segun Oshinaga and Mr. Akinloye Oyeni, both of them in our Abuja studio. Let's kick off with what has gotten a lot of Nigerians talking. The president was very firm in when he was talking about the rights of citizens and also issues of national security, the issues of civil engagement and citizen rights. He said, and I quote here, he said, "I reiterate my call for all to exercise restraint, tolerance, and mutual respect in airing their grievances and frustrations." Let me begin with you, Mr. Oyeniyi. In the light of what has happened in the last few weeks on some people that have been arrested and how some people feel about it, and the government's offense to it, the revolution now, protesters, the cases on one hand, the Showore matter and all of this. But the president said, look, people can express themselves, but tolerance and mutual respect in that should be exercised. How would you react to that statement?
Thank you, Sheung. You see, the statement from the president is not as if it's out of place. That is what should come from the president. And as a leader of the nation, those are the kind of statements that are supposed to be coming from him. But I want to say one thing. That I've read a lot of people's reactions to the arrest of Showore, his trial, the bail, and the denial of the release and the subsequent rearrangement. I wouldn't say I've seen those reactions. I've not seen where people overreacted. I've not seen. You say when you are talking of overreaction, maybe people took to the street, started damaging things or rioting. We didn't see that. What the people have been saying is that the DSS should obey, the government should obey the court order and release Showore since he has met his bail conditions. Then then the trial can commence. But what we saw was that the ruling by Justice Taiwo was not adhered to, was not obeyed. But what we saw later was the rearrangement of Showore in court again, and he's been taken away to DSS custody. So I have not seen any reaction from Nigerians that are volatile or that can cause disaffection in the country to warrant such a statement from the president. But that statement is laudable, is what's supposed to come from a father of the nation.
Okay, let me get Mr. Oshinaga's reaction to it. How do you react to those who believe or who have a feeling that there seems to be some kind of intolerance from the government to freedom of expression, or freedom of rights of protest from Nigerians, especially in the case of Showore? How would you react to those kind of thoughts, Mr. Oshinaga?
Sheung, let me start by saying that anybody who listened to the 18 minutes delivery by Mr. President should really give him top marks for such a very lucid, very expansive, and comprehensive delivery on the political economy of our nation. I'm sure you read that speech. It covered the entire gamut of our political economy. And so the president should be congratulated for a wonderful, fitting delivery. Now, having said that, as for the Showore's case, well, maybe the treatment was not too tidy. But don't forget that this is a man that is charged for treasonable felony. And honestly, I think he has himself to blame because after an election that he participated in, saying he wants to cause a revolution now, is biting more than he can chew. And I hope that his case is dealt with dispatch and very quickly. But it's a lesson for everybody else to know that this government will not tolerate some careless, dumb treatment, or just for the sake of getting popular, to want to ask people to go on the streets. And I hope it's a lesson he will learn and live by. Thank you.
Mr. Oyeni, a lot, yeah. I've heard and listened to a lot of people who have said, well, should the president be taking on some of the issues he took on in that speech on a day as the Independence Day? For example, Mr. Osita Chidoka was on China's television earlier today, and he said, look, the president should be selling hope to Nigerians on an Independence Day, not talking about what he promises to do and what he wants to do. He should leave that, all of those, to his ministers to deal with. Do you agree with that kind of notion?
You mean agree with Chidoka's notion?
Yeah.
Yes. Hello, you mean agree with Chidoka's
notion? Yeah, I'm asking if you agree with him on the point that he said, look, the president should be selling hope to Nigerians because a lot of people believe that Nigeria is not exactly where it should be compared to when we started off in 1960. There are a lot of expectations, and he said there were loads and loads of hopes. But he said, look, president shouldn't be talking about selling the idea of his government, but selling hope to Nigerians.
Yes. I actually agree with Chidoka. You see, where the issue is that, you know, the president came in, I think it's more than 4 years now, at least. You know, when he came in, he said there are damages here and there, here and there. By now, this is after 4 years. Some of these damages which he claimed must have been attended to. If we still have more that has not been attended to, those are the ones we're supposed to be hearing. We've done this, we've done this, we've done this, we've done this, but remaining this to do. You understand me now? Not that the president will still be complaining about past previous government. Don't forget, it's 4 years. His last 4 years is one of the previous government. So if the president is saying the previous government, is actually talking about the PDP years and the last 4 years of APC. So the president should try as much as possible, like Chidoka said, to sell hope. It's not as if you look at the speech very well, it's not as if the president is actually not selling hope. He is selling hope, but he's putting fears into the Nigerians' mind by selling the hope. But what he's supposed to actually be doing is to sell wholesale hope to Nigerians, not to be putting fears in Nigerians' mind, and why he's trying to sell to sell hope to them. We heard when he talked about rule of law and the anti-corruption, the rest, and moving of some programs from one office to another. When we talk of rule of law, and you know, even before the independence celebration, that was when the issue of Sowore saga was still wrangling. You know, when the president now started talking of rule of law, and we know, although he wasn't around, but this is his government. This is his government which disobeyed valid court order, court of competent jurisdiction. And you know, when the president is talking like that, we should look at it. It is not the selling hope to Nigeria or complaining to Nigeria. The complaint shouldn't come from the government to Nigeria, to Nigerians. The complaint should come from Nigerians to government. And this is what you people have been doing. This is what the government needs to do. And this is what you promise us. These are what you have done from all your promises. These are what are remaining. So the government can actually help itself, while the citizens also are helping the government.
Mr. Oshinaga, do you agree, how would you react to those who say, look, there was less of hope in the horizon, or hope were lost in the speech of the president on the day? The critics who came up with that argument, what would you say to that?
Sheung, that's a bull. I mean, my friend here is talking about in the 53-point delivery of Mr. President, how many places did you find complaints? He gave a report of what his government has done in the last 4 years and told us what he plans to do. I mean, for instance, he told us how the SIP program will continue, the economic and growth plan will continue. He told us how he has instructed that 600 billion
Mr. Oshinaga,
is
the point
released
here, Mr.
between now
Oshinaga,
and
the point
December.
here and the argument here is that should the president be doing that on an Independence Day, should he not be telling Nigerians hopes of a better Nigeria, a greater Nigeria, a unified Nigeria? That's the argument some people are pushing.
Sheung, check that 53 points. All those are there. I don't see what he did wrong, emphasizing what his government is doing, and how he intends to make life better for the people. He discussed how from 2016 till now, they moved foreign reserve from 23 billion to 42 billion. What other hope are you expecting to sell?
You know, there is what I was Mr. Oshinaga, apologies. I wanted this just to set it right so that the our viewers can get the argument. The argument is that should a president be talking about the activities of his government, or on an Independence Day, he should be talking about unity of Nigeria, the state of the polity, the togetherness of the people, because the essence of independence, those are some of the arguments that are being brought. And that's the question I was asking. Rather than talk about what his government is doing, should he not be talking about the Nigerian people, isn't it? How would you react to that?
In that speech, 53 points, he talked about the unity of the country. He talked about we working harder in unity. He talked about our dreams for the future. I don't see what he did wrong there. He is telling us what his government is doing to make life better for our people. What else do you expect to hear on an Independence Day than to tell the people where we are, where we are going? And I think he did excellently well with that. Now, listen, you're talking about Chidoka. These people are committed. They never see anything good in President Buhari. So I'm not surprised that they have issues. I'll give you an instance. Today, the president left for South Africa to assess personally the damages of the conflict and to meet with Nigerians and meet with the government and profile a road forward. Now, some on social media are saying, wow, why is he going there? Now, if he didn't go, the same people would say, oh, our president does not care about... You can't please these people who are opposed permanently to the president. But he has to do what the people elected him to do, and I think he's doing very well with that.
Mr. Oyeniyi, you agree that the president is doing well?
See, there's no way to the Nigerians' assessment. If I wouldn't want to go with my personal opinion, but with what is going on in town, I think from the opinion of Nigeria, the government is performing below average. But there's still room for improvement. And if Jesus' second coming with tarry, I think I still have hope that Nigeria is going to be there. We are going higher, and we continue to go higher.
All right, let me show you this. The president spoke about food sufficiency. Take a look at what the president said about the issue of food sufficiency. And I quote the president. President Buhari on that yesterday says, our journey to food security and self-sufficiency is well underway. You agree with that, Mr. Oyeniyi?
You see, I don't think I will agree to that, because there are indices, there are prevailing factors that we are now. Okay, for food security, we have to start from like food production, and we know we are having this farmer and herdsmen clash. How do we get food if farmers cannot get to their farms to produce these foods? How can we get it? The border is closed. All the borders are closed now. And you say, even before the closure of the border, what do we have? I think rice is about 18,000. How much is rice now? 20,000, 21,000. What is food security there? How is provision of food being secured? Farmers cannot go to their farm. Food cannot come in from neighboring countries. We are even closing border when we just signed this ACFA, this African continent free trade. This thing we are closing border. How is that one going to be effective when we are shutting down border? When all these goods are just to be coming in? I don't think I agree to that. I don't think I agree to that. And don't forget, not quite long here, we were adjudged to be the poverty headquarter of the world. And in Yoruba land, they say if food is out of poverty, there's nothing like poverty. So for us to be poverty headquarter of the world, that means food, we have to be on the top of the pyramid.
Mr. Oshinaga,
so I don't agree with that.
I mean, how would you react to that? So he does look at Mr. Oyeni as one of those who believe that statement of the president is not actually correct. He says that food sufficiency, according to him. You react to it, if you may.
Akin is talking rubbish. The truth is that if you check, there has never been millionaire farmers in Nigerian history like they are today. We have never had the agricultural output that we've had today in our history since at least 1999. Look, the truth be told, this government has invested in agriculture like no government before it has ever done. Now, the fact that things have not gone down sufficiently does not rubbish that. And the closing of the border as a short-term measure, I think is brilliant. The truth is that if you check statistics, the Republic of Benin is importing the things that Nigeria used to import, because Nigeria no longer imports them. They are importing more rice than they can ever need, which means that they are all coming here. Now listen, Dangote recently told us that no government can survive with a neighbor like the Republic of Benin. Nigeria has to be self-sufficient. China closed its borders for many, many years. India closed its borders for many, many years. Today, America, with Trump, is closing its borders. And, there's some wisdom in it. Let's learn. I read something recently about Nigerian businessmen now repackaging local rice with foreign names so they can sell at the price of the foreign ones. We're not helping ourselves. Truth be told, there are more rice farmers in Nigeria today, far, far, far more than they ever been. Even young graduates are going into farming. So the goal of this government of being self-sufficient is been actualized despite the challenges of smuggling. And I hope that we find a way to make sure that Nigerians eat what we grow. This nation can't grow unless we learn to eat what we do ourselves.
All right.
No country develops.
Mr. Oshinaga and Mr. Onyiloye, I must sincerely thank both of you. Mr. Oyeni, apologies. Mr. Akinloye Oyeni and Mr. Segun Oshinaga, thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming on tonight. We'll leave it at that, but we'll take a break. And when we come back, we hear from some eminent Nigerians on what they think the problems of Nigeria is and how to solve them. Don't go anywhere. We'll be talking to us shortly. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Perhaps one thing a lot of Nigerians will agree to is the fact that Nigeria is not where it should be. There is enormous potential for the largest combination or population of black people in the world. So, all of these potentials, what do we make of it? How do we convert it into real value for Nigeria? So a lot of people believe that Nigeria can get to where it should be, but how? So we spoke with different people, about 3 eminent Nigerians in these exclusive interviews on Channels Television about Nigeria's independence, where we got it wrong and the solution. Let's take a listen first to the President General of Ohanaeze Ndigbo, Mr. John Umodo, a former minister. Take a listen to his thoughts on the problem of Nigeria and how to fix it.
In 1960, when we had independence, we were cascading the rising mountains of fulfillment. We were at the height of hope as an emerging black nation. Today we have come down to the weltering valleys of desolation. The narrative is negative. So fundamentally, you may say, where did it get it wrong? We got it wrong when the military came into our politics, changed our constitution, retained the name a Federal Republic of Nigeria, but turned it into a unitary Republic of Nigeria, where one man in Abuja decides what happens to everyone everywhere. It's not possible. First of all, we are different people who have come together we must harness our relative potentialities. Let the West bring out what is best known in the West and what they can do better. Let the East bring out what they can do better. Let the Middle Belt bring out what they can do better. Let the North bring out what they can do better. Let the South bring out what they can do better, what they are better endowed with. We have changed the growth trajectory. Nobody is any more dependent. And the advent of oil as a source of revenue made us give up our other natural resources. We refused to grow them, and other countries grew their own, outstripped our rate of development. Our education went bonkers. Right now, our country is spending 70% of its national revenue on servicing existing debts without retiring the principal. And the projection is that it may get to 80% in 2023. This is failure. We may not even be able to retire the principal in the lifetime of people like me. And if the example of some of our African countries is anything to go by, countries like China may recolonize Nigeria for inability to pay the debts. They'll come and manage our public utilities so that they can make their money and take their money at their own pace and at their own time. This is dangerous. We have no choice if this country is not restructured. First of all, you know that our constitution has no legal basis. You cannot make a constitution for a people and impose it on them. Our constitution was made by a group of soldiers or military men who formed the Armed Forces Ruling Council. It was not subjected to a plebiscite. It was not subjected to a referendum. And yet it starts with we, the people of Nigeria. So our constitution, in legal terms, is not a touchstone. It has no legal foundation of acceptability by the people, and yet is the ground norm for now. In this circumstance, we have to correct that error. We must restructure the Federal Republic of Nigeria, restore it to the agreement of our forefathers, or what they want out of our country. We must sanitize our electoral system, make access to political office as cheap as possible.
That's a voice, a very strong one from the southeastern region of the country. So, a President General of the Ohanaeze Ndigbo, John Umodo there. Let's listen to further south is another voice, a professor of international law and diplomacy, Professor Akin Oyebode. Professor Akin Oyebode has always spoken about how Nigeria can harness his potentials. Professor Akin Oyebode has not minced words to talk about the leadership potential and the leadership recruitment process. Take a listen to Professor Akin Oyebode on his thoughts on Nigeria's independence, where it should be, and how to fix its problems.
Where we got it wrong is where we started placing round pegs in square holes. If we had competent Nigerians running the country, things would not have gotten this bad. We earned the unfortunate position of being the leading country in terms of mass poverty. So if Nigeria contains the poorest people on earth, that is a sad commentary on how far we have mismanaged ourselves. We have all the resources, natural and human, but like Chebe once said, our problem has been leadership. We've not been well led, and that's why we seem to have been going round in circles like the potter's wheel. All movement, no development, no progress. The constitution that is operating now is actually Decree 24 of 1999. So Nigerians are yet to have their autochthonous constitution, indigenous constitution that will reflect and capture the dreams and aspirations of Nigerians.
We're talking about it there for you. Let's listen to yet another voice. One of the founders of the Arewa group, a Northern Voice, a socio-political group in the northern region of the country, Alhaji Tanko Yakasan. Take a listen to him.
It's not the expectation of the founding fathers of this country that in 59 years, this is how far we can go. We thought we could have gone far, far more than what we are able to achieve. The quick way of comparing the situation is to see what our sister countries are at the moment as compared with our own position. At the time of our independence, we were almost at the same level with countries like Korea, Brazil, Indonesia, India, Pakistan, and the rest of them. Today, all of them are far ahead of us, far ahead of us. We got it wrong because of deviation. Like I mentioned, the military intervention, it happened elsewhere, but in our own case, it became a bad luck for us. One, the military started to fight themselves. One would stage a coup against another. Two, they kept on changing government, even where one is not overthrowing fellow military man.
Alhaji Tanko Yakasai there for the elder statesman. Well, all of these thoughts, one thing in everybody's mind is the fact that Nigeria is not where it should be. But perhaps what we need to cultivate in our minds is individual way of helping Nigeria get to where it should be. There is the role of the citizen and there's the role of the leader. Again, is the issue of your responsibility as a citizen to take your leader up on what they promised to do and what they should be doing. Well, that's how we leave the program tonight. And that's the end of the program tonight. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Shimon Kimale. Bye-bye.